I'll wait for it to show up. All right, welcome everyone. And we're just going to give folks a few moments to join us online here. I see people kind of coming on, but welcome to you, and also welcome to the lovely Miranda, who is joining us from the very, very Arctic Calgary right now. And today we're going to talk about advanced training. So we hope that everybody has brought questions so that we have things to tell you about and talk to you about. So if you are joining us on Zoom, you can click the Q&A button and tell us where you're joining, or ask us your questions, or tell us where you're joining us from. If you're watching on Facebook Live, you can join us by commenting on the live stream, and we will answer your questions from the comment section as well. So welcome, Miranda. You've been here before, so I won't start with the total typical question because you've answered it before about how you came to be at PADS a million years ago when dinosaurs roamed the earth. But instead, tell us something exciting that has happened this year for you.
Exciting. What's exciting?
Or satisfying or wonderful or
wonderful.
Anything.
So I don't know if everybody knows this, but I used to be a high school social studies teacher. So this year, thanks to the pandemic, sorry, please excuse my laryngitis. I used to get this when I would teach too. This is what happens when I spend the holidays talking. So this year we've actually begun rolling out online learning with clients. So one of my, I think, most exciting things that 2021 has brought is I get to spend every other week doing continuing education sessions with our clients. So that looks like we do an online kind of go through a topic, talk about it. But the best thing is that I get to bring out teacher Miranda, which I kind of miss sometimes. And then I get to learn a lot about the people that we work and serve. So it's this really beautiful feedback loop of, I turn them into dog training geeks because I'm always looking to convert people into dog trainers. And they get to teach me all about, like, you know, meeting new people and their experiences. And some of them have had service dogs, like they're on their third or fourth service dog. So it's been really rewarding and a ton of fun. So that's probably one of my highlights of 2020, the year everybody would like to forget, or sometimes I do forget, and I still think it's oh wait, see, it's just 2021.
2020. It's 2020-21, my friend. You missed a whole year.
I just skipped it. So that's probably been the best reason to not skip 2021 and go straight to 2022 has been the client continuing education. So that's been one of my favorite things that I think is really exciting for me and for the organization and for the clients. So love building community like that with everyone.
That's fabulous. And super exciting, I think, for the clients as well. I know that I have picked your brain on occasion to solve problems, and it's always a treat. So, and super effective and fabulous. And no, it's all good. My dog's not a spaz around food anymore, so life is good.
Don't throw me under the bus, Tara. Don't throw me under the bus.
No, not at all. Just all happy things. So, oh my goodness. Okay, comments are flying in here. So, Nessa is very excited that you're online.
Yes, I'm so sorry. I just got the Christmas card when I came back into the office today, so thank you.
Excellent. Lisa says hello, and Nicole says, hey Miranda, I'm so stoked to see you, and Walker says woof, and can we do a session together in the future? So Nicole is one of our clients as well, who has the fabulous walker.
We have the best people in the world.
Best people on earth. So for those of you that have just joined us, I see lots of new people popping in here, both on Zoom and on Facebook Live. So if you have questions, please just post them in the comment section and we will just like pummel Miranda with them. It'll be like rapid fire questions. Nala says, hi, Miranda, you're the coolest dog geek out there. So
I'm glad I can't see any of these. I would be very distracted.
yeah, exactly. And Mark says, Liam and I are so happy to be here. Yay, Miranda, you rock. So tell us what is new in your life, Miranda. I hear there's a new little lady in your life.
Oh,
Mark just
yeah.
reminded me.
So it's confession hour. I'm not a puppy person. But luckily my partner is. He is very much a puppy person. So we have, I'll even show a picture of her. So this is super cute. We have the brand new, kind of hard to see, pads Betsy. She came to our house. This joined us just before the holidays. So we have a new puppy in that, new Pads puppy in the house. So my house usually consists of the pet dogs that I own, plus my husband's Pads puppy. I swear I don't train them. I just do the photography. And then an advanced dog or two that I do train. So yeah, so that we've had a very busy holiday season trying to work on house training in the polar vortex. But I was thinking about it yesterday. I was thinking the weather is actually a benefit because the amount of negative reinforcement that happens for toileting quickly when you go outside is amazing for right now. You don't get to go back inside until you pee. So they learn to pee really fast.
I remember visiting you in Calgary and I was staying in a hotel and I had Merlot with me and we went to go outside and we took 2 steps out of the door and she turned around and hit the door button. She was like, heck no, we're going back inside. And I just laughed. I was like, oh my goodness, you literally learned that like, I don't know, a week ago and it's not even on cue yet, but you figured out that it opens the door and you're having none of this cold. So
now the poor girl lives in Saskatchewan, which is
yeah, and yet doesn't want to go inside. So who would have thunk? She's clearly adopted now. So I'm just looking to see, oh, hang on. Jackie wants to know if there's any update on Maverick.
Oh, Ricky. So Ricky did complete his pre-placement test and Maverick. And apparently they all get nicknames when they come here. And it's usually my partner who nicknames them. And Ricky's just waiting for his, Maverick's waiting for his perfect match. So we're just going through that process of finding them, or him in this case, his forever human. So that's kind of like the part of the event where I become Yentl. And I get to also meet amazing potential clients and talk to them and find out what they do and what they would like to do and what their hopes are and what their personality is like. And I get to, even if I don't have the perfect dog for them at that time, which I'm always hoping I do, but sometimes I don't, I get to know them a little bit better and then have in mind, okay, this is my picture of what this perfect dog could possibly be for them in the future. So Ricky is just looking for his perfect human now. So that's
so exciting.
He's my favorite. He just figured out how to do door buttons. He's going to be great. And he's going to be a facility therapy dog. So he's awesome.
Amazing. And so Nala is asking, or Kylia is asking where Betsy is from. So
Betsy is an exchange from Dogs with Wings. I'm guessing her dad is a Pads dog and her mom is a Dogs with Wings dog. So a lot of times she's not from a named litter, but she's sponsored by Mark. So she's been sponsored, and she's going to get raised here in the Calgary region, and then hopefully find some future success as being some sort of service dog for our organization. So we're very grateful to all of the people like Mark who help invest in PADS and our dogs and their futures. And we're really lucky to be part of a really awesome breeding program through ABC. So we're very lucky that a really fun little dog like Betsy gets to come stay at my house. She fits in perfectly.
Amazing. Well, and Betsy is named for Mark's wife who passed away recently. Betsy was her nickname. So we're very excited. He has become a very dear friend of Pat's. And
these big special, you know, they're special just by their namesake. And no matter what, that's the exciting thing about is that even if, you know, even if they don't end up becoming service dogs through the organization, the impact that they have on their communities and that the people they go to, I think all of our dogs in some ways are there to teach us something, and we're there to learn something from them. So even if Betsy decides to do something else with her life, which we're open to, she's going to make a big change in someone's world. So we're pretty excited to have her.
I think it's one of the things I'm most proud of being with PADS is how every dog really does kind of choose their own path. And I think it's hard when you're new to PADS to maybe see to see that future path when you're hearing, for example, that a dog hasn't made it or something like that. But having raised many dogs actually that haven't made the program and then seen the impact that they've had either as VIP dogs or pet dogs in their worlds, it's amazing as well. I mean, obviously we're all working towards an end goal of placing dogs with clients, but I'm here to just like preach that those dogs that choose not to, one, we're not forcing them to do a job that they are going to hate, which is really important. But also that often they wind up somewhere that is even better for them because it really does harness their strengths, etc. So I'm like looking up here, I'm like, who is Betsy's mother or father? So because now I'm curious, I'm like, where did those ears come from?
They are pretty
I'm going to say without a doubt that she is not a pride baby, but that's just me. So, oh, she's not a PADS dog. She's from Bo from Canine Partners for Life, which is a school in the US.
She's not related to us at all. It's just an exchange. That's awesome.
So yeah, which happens sometimes. So, okay, so we've talked about the new puppy in your life and the nicknames and Maverick. And so I'm just looking to see if we have any more questions that have come in the meantime. Hang on just one second. Multitasking.
No worries.
Lots of folks saying hello. All right, if you have just joined us, we are, oh my goodness gracious. And Cadence has found her Christmas present under the table and has decided that she's going to play pounce with it. I apologize for the clanging. If you've just joined us and you have questions for Miranda, drop them in the comment section of Facebook or in the Q&A section of Zoom, and we will try and answer them. So my next question is, what dogs are on your string right now, and what fun things are you teaching them? You are the queen of customized dogs. So
I love fun things. They're my very favorite. So right now we have, I'll start at the top of the list, I think from most long with me to, so I have Shale. Shale is from our, I think she's our Whistler ski hill litter. And she is a hearing dog, and she is just already been matched to a client, and we are just waiting on her team training. So Shale's my friend who now I have a little bit of a trigger. Every time my phone rings, I like prepare myself to come get poked by a dog. And by poked, I mean punched. She loves her job, and she is the cutest little button in the world. So I've got Shale.
And your first hearing dog, right?
My first hearing dog. So she's great. And then I have Desi the world's wiggliest girl, and she is wonderful. She is a service dog, and she has been matched to a client. So like Shale, she's just waiting for a team training date, which will hopefully be soon, maybe in January for both of these girls. And then Desi is kind of amazing in that she is perfect. I don't know, like, how do you describe a dog who is just can literally do anything for anybody? She's just a really super cool dog. She's also from a Dogs with Wings exchange, but she was a Belfour puppy. So she's from one of our PADS dogs. And so she was raised in the Calgary area, and we're so happy to have her because she could be a balanced mobility dog. So hopefully she'll help someone with transfers. She's got the right speed for working with mobility, people who still have agility, but who are not using a wheelchair. I'm teaching her to pull a wheelchair right now too, which is kind of the opposite ends of our mobility dog spectrum. Is usually we get our high energy, intense wheelchair dogs. And then we get our kind of slow and steady mobility, agility assistants. So our balanced mobility dogs. And Desi is kind of energy level on the balanced mobility side, but her client uses a manual chair as well. So why not? So we're doing lots of really cool stuff with Desi, and she's just in that last few weeks prior to going to a client. So that's usually where we do all the fun stuff. Our next dog would be Maverick and Suzuki. Both of those two kind of came in around the same time. So Suzuki's from the motorcycle litter, and she is passed her pre-placement test, or she's completing her pre-placement test and waiting for scoring for PTSD service dog. And then Maverick is a facility therapy dog, and he's passed his pre-placement test too. And then my two most recent recruits are Derby, who is Maverick's litter mate. And so she's from our Stampede litter, both of those two are from our Stampede litter. And then we have Silver, who has come to me from the Okanagan, and she's a riot as well. So Silver's kind of exploring her career options, and so is Derby at this time. So I have poor Maverick's the only guy in the room and the only black dog right now. I guess Suzuki's black and tan. So Maverick's my odd guy out.
So you've got like the whole rainbow of all the flavors right now.
I've never had this before where I have dogs from literally every single one of our streams on my string at one time. So it's a ton of fun. It makes field trips a nightmare, but everything else is a hoot.
Excellent. So we have a question. What do you test in the pre-placement test? What does that look like?
So our pre-placement test kind of looks like our client public access test on steroids. So depending on the dog's stream is what we'll be testing. And so our pre-placement tests are the kind of the big last hoop for us as an advanced trainer to go through with our dog prior to saying that they are ready to be matched to a client. So that usually has two portions: an in-facility portion where we work, do skills with our dogs. So that can be anything from basic obedience. They have to show grooming, so they have to be able to pass their grooming portion of their test, which means they have to go through a full groom, brushing teeth and checking their ears and cleaning their ears and doing their nails and grooming them with a brush and trimming their fur and stuff. So we train all of that. And then if they're a service dog, we'll use service as an example, they have to demonstrate that they can do all of their skills in the facility where they were trained without food. And then we have the second portion of the test is the public access test. So that's where we take what we've learned and we demonstrate that the dog is able to do those skills in a higher distraction environment that would be something similar to a client might experience. So we usually end up going to a mall, and we have to demonstrate that the dog can do everything that is on their skill list for their handler, which is me at the time. without reinforcement on the handler, right? So it's usually looking like a couple of hours, and we spend a couple of hours running through all of their skills, showing that what they know, and hoping that they are adequately prepared to be able to pass that test. And then once that test is passed, we get medical clearance, and it says our dogs are fit for placement and healthy. And then we go into client matching. And a lot of times we'll have a client in mind prior to the testing. So we kind of know where we're going to be aiming the dog towards, but the testing is kind of the final step before we go ahead and make that official. So that we can then set that client and that dog up as a team, and then prepare the client for starting a team training with their dog.
Which flows super nicely into the next question from Lise, which is, after a dog is matched, how long is their training with the client? What does that look like?
So I'm just gonna do this. Hold on, my nose is itchy. When I'm learning not to touch my face holes still.
Still,
Still
face
learning.
holes is the best expression ever.
So with a client, so once a dog is matched to a client, then we're scheduling a team training. Our team training, this has been another development from COVID that's actually been, I think, a big benefit for our clients, is being able to do our theoretical portion of our team training online. There's a lot to know about having a service dog, especially if it's your first dog. Things like public etiquette, how to let people pet your dog, what distraction looks like, what body language looks like. So there's a lot of theoretical information that we deliver to the clients, and that usually takes roughly 5 to 7 sessions of online learning, so theoretical stuff. Traditionally, we would have done that as part of perhaps up to 2-week team training. So now we've been able to say, okay, you can do the theoretical stuff from the comfort of your home, which is far more beneficial for our clients, especially if some of them would have had to have traveled to do team training traditionally in the Lower Mainland. So they'd have to go to pads, do it at the training center, and sit in a room and watch, like try and get through all of this stuff in a few days. It could be really long days for clients. So now we're splitting it up into sessions online with a trainer. And then once they've completed the theoretical portion, which also involves a written exam, then the clients, they do weekly quizzes or session-based quizzes. And then once that's complete, we schedule an in-person practical portion. This is the fun part where the clients get to work with the dogs and apply what they've learned in the theoretical portion and apply it to actually handling and managing their PADS dogs. So we spend usually about 5 days with the client going through different types of scenarios, everything from setting up their home so that the home is set up for the dog and that the client feels comfortable having the dog in their home. They know what to do and how to support the dog. And then we do public work, and we do work with anything that we would think the client might be likely to encounter out in the wild. So kind of how to handle it's kind of a crash course on how to handle your dog. And then with our service dog clients, once they are finished, so usually the last day of team training, the practical portion is a public access test, something similar to what I would do if I was handling the dog on a pre-placement test. That's the part that says this person and this dog are a qualified team, right? So it shows that the client is able to manage the dog in all scenarios that they're likely to encounter, and that the dog is safe and fit for public access. So for me, that's the best analogy that I've heard so far, is that it is the same as doing your driver's test, except so you may have to make sure that the car is safe for the road. You have to register a safe, reliable car or a safe and reliable dog with a person who knows who knows all of the rules of the road and how to be a safe and reliable driver. And so once that's all done together, then they are considered to have passed their public access test. And then they have ongoing support from people like me, or if it's the PTSD program, someone like Margaret or Val is often supporting them directly. So yeah, and then they get to hang out with me for another 6 sessions after that. So we do ongoing check-ins with the client to make sure things are going well. Do you have questions? This is how we dog park. This is how we cooperative care grooming, you know, all sorts of fun stuff.
I think too, one of the things you touch on that just makes like the teacher in me sing is just the idea that our learning is now actually structured far better for like retention as well, right? So when you're doing those, you know, weekly Zoom sessions, instead of where it used to be come to the campus for a couple of weeks and you're in class all day long, there is a threshold of how much information our brains can absorb in one session. And so I love that this new model actually enables our clients to learn in not only a more paced out way, but also probably a more effective way ultimately than trying to kind of cram it all in to a really short time frame where people are away from their normal environment and stuff, which, I mean, speaking for myself, it's always harder when I'm away from home because I don't have my typical things and supports that I have at home. And so it's just, I think that just makes it easier on the clients as well. So Mark is asking, when did the dogs move in with their client? At what point in that process you just discussed? At what point is the dog staying with the client?
It's usually pretty variable, but it's usually the way that we currently have it structured is that the dog will have moved in with the client kind of at the beginning or middle of the practical portion of the team training. So we need to take the dog into the client's house and do like a kind of home interview like we would with a puppy raiser. And that's basically where you have someone wandering through your house being like, oh, watch out for this garbage can. Oh, we're going to set up the door like this. So we do take a lot of care to make sure that the house is set up correctly for the dog and the client, and that the client has the theoretical knowledge necessary to, you know, address an emergency, right? Like, even if it's just like, okay, if you have an emergency, who do you call? So usually that happens towards the beginning, like I said, the beginning to the middle of the practical portion of the team training. So once the theoretical portion has been completed, then we'll move into setting the client's house up. And once the home interview is completed, the dog is welcome to stay with the client at that time.
So Michelle's asking a question about one of Lisa's dogs, and unfortunately, I don't think, unless you want to correct me if I'm wrong, Miranda, would you have an update on Levi, who's with Lisa? Or Lisa, I think, is watching right now. Maybe she wants to type an update.
Watching. I think
Yeah.
Lisa is watching. As far as I know, Levi is a good guy, and he's living at Lisa's place. So I'd have to defer to her to give an update.
Yeah, I thought so, but sorry about that, Michelle. But maybe we can talk to Lisa about coming on sometime in the new year and talking about her dogs. So just consider yourself voluntold, Lisa, if that works for you. So and so we've just got a few more minutes left. So if you have any last minute questions, throw them in the comments or the Q&A section on Zoom, and we'll try and answer maybe one or two more. Ross and Veronica are saying, I love you teach the clients, not just the service part, but having the dog part too. Like, how do you do a dog park? And we were talking earlier as well about how going out in public with a service dog is like being security detail on a rock star a little bit, and how Miranda was talking about how she teaches clients to just kind of like passively avoid eye contact because it avoids having conversations every 30 steps. So, which I love so much, because I not only have a service dog, but a golden retriever service dog, which just ups the ante all the further, the more floof, the more
it gets, yeah, the more yellow, fluffy, and younger they are, the harder it is, for sure. Because clients, if you as a puppy raiser have ever experienced like, man, I just want to go get a loaf of bread and get out without having to explain about my PADS dog. If you've ever experienced that, clients absolutely are experiencing it too. So part of what you folks are doing when you're saying like, thank you very much, no, I'm sorry you can't pet them, or yes, you may, but it has to look like this, is what you're educating for our clients. So you guys are everyday people on the ground doing a lot of the education and advocacy for our clients and their experiences. So just at that moment when you're like, I could really just get the heck out of here, just think that maybe what you're doing is you're saving somebody a little bit of energy, a potential future client, a little bit of that energy that they would find that they would have to expend in order to do that education portion of the event. So what you folks are doing out there, even though some days you don't feel like doing it, is really important, not just for your dogs, so that your dogs are as as professional as they possibly can be in public, but also so that their clients maybe don't have to do that. So I know it can be kind of hard. I just, like I said, there's a yellow dog factor going on in our house, really cute baby puppy. So we're having to, do the.
Yeah, we were talking about how if you've raised a black Labrador and then a yellow Labrador, it is a whole new world. Like black labs in some ways, I mean, they're not completely invisible, but if you pop them under a restaurant table, no one will ever know they're there.
Okay.
But with a yellow dog, it's like people can see them
I
like
don't know.
seeking missiles. So
I love me a little black Labrador. Like as soon as you go to yellow, more trouble. As soon as you go to yellow and fluffy, even more trouble. So literally anybody who's raised an adorable golden retriever puppy, thank you. You're a saint. And I'm sorry that so many people wanted to use you as a petting zoo.
Exactly. And Lisa just jumped on and said, Levi's doing well, gaining confidence in all new things and finding his groove. So that's exciting.
I knew he was doing great. That's awesome.
And Michelle says, thank you for the sessions. They're so informative. And I agree. So I'm just going to echo those thank yous and a yay about Levi's. So thank you, Miranda, again for joining us. This was a real treat in the midst of my Christmas vacation here. I've been looking forward to it. It's always lovely to see your face and hear what you were working on. So thanks for taking the time out and joining us. And thank you to everybody who tuned in with us. And I don't know exactly who's on the schedule yet because the lovely Katie looks after that for me, but she did send me a text this week and said you're fully booked for January for Tune In Tuesdays. So if you want to go to pads.ca/tune-in-Tuesday, you can see who we've got lined up as our January guests. I'm very excited that we're back in the groove of Tune In Tuesdays. I have missed them probably as much as all of you have. But thank you, Miranda, for jumping in today, and now go rest your voice. And you can read all the thank yous that are streaming in on
wonderful. My
Facebook
sincere
here.
pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. It's always such a joy to be able to spend time in our Zoom way with the best community of people that I know. So thank you for having me.
Thanks, Miranda. You take
Bye,
it easy.
everyone. Take
Bye.
care.